Hi friends and welcome to Viktors Reality. Today I have the Dell S2721DGF versus the Samsung Odyssey G7. At a normal front view, a side view, and at an extreme wide viewing angle, plus at a menu level so you can see the difference between an IPS and VA contrast. Now this is Marvel vs. Capcom on the Xbox Series S, and I can tell you right away that these monitors handle this image very clearly, cleanly, and beautifully with all the colors that are popping off the screen. So here at the menu level you can see the IPS versus VA difference. Also to note that the G7 does have local dimming on, as you can see by the top right of the picture of the G7. That blooming effect is the local dimming on. With the Marvel vs. Capcom logo, you can see the local dimming zones are the top and the bottom. The local dimming zones on the G7 are vertical, so you can see just the middle parts are illuminated, which will give you much more brightness at the expense of seeing that, but it's very rare and it doesn't affect in normal gameplay. But that is a separate issue with the G7. That's just how the panel functions with local dimming on. And when things are popping off the screen, when there's a lot of color on the screen, the IPS panel can handle its own, and you'll see in a bit when the fighting starts, all the colors are popping off the screen. The LG Nano IPS colors make up for the contrast difference of the Samsung VA panel. But here in a dark room, you will see the difference easily, and if you put some ambient lighting, the contrast issue diminishes and you won't have an issue with that. But I'm just showing this here on screen. The G7 is with local dimming on, as also you will see in this video. The Odyssey G7 does have a clear brightness advantage. We're talking about an HDR 400 versus an HDR 600. At peak brightness on the Odyssey G7, we can hit above 500 nits with local dimming on. So I still wanted to show that here so you can see the real differences between both panels. So here at normal front viewing, you can see all the colors are popping. Everything is equal to my eyes. The 98% on the S27 versus the 95% on the G7. The only difference you would see on both of these panels would be at a side or extreme wide viewing angle, which you will see also in this video coming up. But everything looks equal to my eyes. Everything looks beautiful. Everything looks fast. There is no smear on either panel. These two panels have the fastest response times on the market, including the lowest input lag. You can't go wrong with either of them, but the S27 is smaller while the 32 is bigger, and there is no noticeable difference in blurriness on the G7 or clarity on the S27. They're just two different kinds of panels, and you should get the one that makes more sense to you. If you have a smaller desk, maybe the S27 is better, but if you want full frontal immersion, the G7 does impress way more than the S27 could ever dream of at its increased size. Now, the only way you'd be able to notice any small differences is by having them side by side. And when I say the G7 is brighter, you can only tell if they're side by side. When I'm gaming separately on the S27, I don't notice any kind of brightness issue. It's bright enough, the highlights are really good, everything is perfect on the S27, the colors, everything. It's just that only when you put them side by side with a more powerful panel like the G7, you can notice the differences because you're seeing them, the brightness is more on the right. But the colors being equal, in my opinion, even though I really do like the LG Nano technology, and I specifically got the S27 for Xbox Series X gaming, the G7 is at another level on the contrast department. While matching the colors, I would say for console use, the Samsung Odyssey G7 to me just gives me a more wow picture, a wow factor. Even though it has a little bit less color, the 3% of the DCI-P3 color coverage just diminishes when you consider the VA contrast power and brightness that the Samsung Odyssey G7 has. And of course the immersion, in my opinion, the G7 is the clear winner, but the S27 is a perfect all-around 27-inch monitor. Of course, noting that it cannot handle a 4K signal, and this is at 1440p in the Xbox Series S menu. And here also at a wide extreme viewing angle. Now this is about 5 steps to the right, with the G7 cheating a little bit because the G7 is on the right already, so it's really about 3 to 4 steps, while the S27 would be 5 steps. But I'm showing here how much clarity and picture information is still shown on the S27, while at normal wide viewing angles, the G7 handles it perfectly because of the curve. It's really a steep 1000R curve. But now at an extreme, about 3 steps to the right, it's about to start diminishing, it's about to start washing the picture. And again, that's due to the contrast power of the G7 plus that 1000R curve. Technically, the curve on the left side of the G7 would still be legible at an extreme angle, but on the right, because it's curved the opposite way, it's going to start diminishing even more. The image might even start warping. So just to note, if you love the flat panel, the S27 is the better option. And honestly, the G7 is really meant to be played and seen from the front. There is no side. You shouldn't be playing or using, especially for work or anything, at a side angle on the G7, as it would warp and distort the image. But I am showing that here, so you're aware of what each panel offers, and I hope this helps you make an informed, awesome buying decision. And don't forget to check out my other S2721DGF and Samsung Odyssey G7 videos with other games and situations to help you in your buying decision. So if you found this video helpful, please leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on that notification bell so you never miss out on a future video. I'll see you guys next time.